Sorry, miles away. I'm engrossed in historical COP data. Sorry, I thought, I better start the live room session because I need to go on in a minute. And then I got sucked into a spreadsheet 4 minutes ago. And I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to press the button. Hello, good afternoon, David, Ladder, Luke. Sorry, I'm just doing all this historical COT data analysis, getting all the COT data into the system, which is I'm just trying to figure out how to get the data rationalized so that it is useful. And I think I've come up with a way of doing it, basically. So what I'm going to do is on every weekly report, I'm going to take the long bias from the base pair crossed with the short bias from the other pair, i.e. base pair is the euro, other pair is US dollar. Divide that by 2, and that is going to give us a strength reading of 0 to 100. And then I can plot that on this chart, and it will tell us whether or not the euro US dollar on every specific week was COT bias long or short, and how much COT bias long and short we had. So very similar to the sentiment, but going to plot it as a single line per instrument. Because the way I was plotting it like this means if you want to find out what euro US dollar was, for example, there, you've got to go euro was a 48, US dollar was an 88. So 48% were long euro, 88% were long US dollar. So obviously that's a bearish bias, but this doesn't give you any visual representation of that at all. I have to work that out in my brain. So I've figured out a way to do it, but unfortunately it means a huge amount of spreadsheet work, which is not a problem because I've got an open AI that can do that for me. So, but I just before I came on air, I was like, I had that light bulb moment, how to crack that. And I was like, So I quickly needed to do one calculation just so that I could figure it out. So on each of these dates, you can see how strong the euro US dollar was, what the bias was. So 55%. So we were slightly bullish. Going back here, we were very bearish, euro US, and vice versa. And so, yeah, that's next project. Happy Friday afternoon. Yes, it's the end of the week. What a week it's been. Oh, what a week. So I've banked just under £1,000 now because the DAX this morning decided it didn't want to give me any money. And I realised I was a little over leveraged on the DAX this morning. I went with a 0.25% risk. What I'm doing with the ORB on this account is I'm actually only using a 0.1 risk on this account. So I've just reduced that down because I was over leveraged. So I lost $250 because everything else I'm leveraging at around about $100. So yeah, that's a silly mistake. But anyway, so NASDAQ, we will see what happens. So DAX basically today, utter whitewash so far. There's your opening. Well, you can see the opening range. It's just a mess. So there's your 5-minute opening range. There's your 15-minute opening range. And there's the utter catastrophe of the day. Good luck. Anybody make any money on that today? Somebody DM'd me and said they'd made $8,000 on it. They were confused as to how they'd blown their account. Prop account. And they've just taken another one in. It made $8,000 today. And I was like, what? You've blown a prop account using the opening range breakout EA. Yet today you've managed to make $8,000. In the only condition, and probably the worst condition I've seen so far this year for trading. Something's wrong with your set file. So I've no idea how they had it set up, but somehow from there to there, they made $8,000. So guess is to maybe a little bit over leveraged. Yeah. But anyway, chop day today, so nothing you can do with that. NASDAQ. We've had a very weird session on the NAS as well. So if you look at the open today, NASDAQ, we made a new low, another new low, and another new low. And then we've had quite a violent push up. Made a new high and pulled back. So very weird price action on the NASDAQ for the London session. But anyway, so everything else I've banked this morning, I've kind of posted in Telegram. I've got some New Zealand dollar CAD, which I'm watching at the moment. We've just had the CAD news out for retail, which was a miss. Well, no, is it as expected for core? Standard retail was a little bit better than expected, but the core retail is what they use for the scorecarding systems. So because that's your bread and butter retail sales, rather than this takes into account all of your I've got shed loads of money to burn type retail. So it's the core stuff, food, electricity, the stuff, not electricity. That's not a retail purchase. Stuff you have to buy. So yeah. So that came out as expected. So no news from there, no movement there. We got home sales at 3. Not expecting that to do a lot, but you never know. They use these news events to do what the hell they like. So we might see something, we might not. Markets just opened, I can tell, because the NASDAQ's just flicking all over the app. So I'll watch that. So open positions at the moment, as we can see here, Euro Swiss long. That's in profit at the moment. I've got 2 on that. Let's just go out to a higher time frame so we can see what we're doing. So Euro Swiss long. Might take another one off on that. We're up at ADR, and we've hit ADR. So if we can get 125 ADR, I'm going to take another one off. You know what? In fact, I might even close them both out. It's a weekend. We'll see. Euro pound. Pound has been strong again today, not managed to get anywhere. So we had a little push up. We pulled back a little bit, but we're not down today, which is good, because we've had 3 down days on the trot with the pound. So we're not down. Happy. Pound New Zealand. That's in profit at the moment. Again, I've got some more I can bank on that. I'm taking this one off here. I took that one off this morning. I'm taking that one off just above there and at the low of the day, basically, in case we double bottom, if we get there. Pound US, still waiting for the US dollar to pull its finger out of its backside. Not doing anything yet. New Zealand dollar CAD's in profit. So that CAD news hasn't had any impact whatsoever, so I'm expecting that to rally. And CAD Swiss. So this is the thing I got into this morning, right? So CAD Swiss, oh my God, I've got so much back-end stuff open. I've also changed the navigation for you wily-eyed people out there. So fundamentals is now in the main navigation. I used to have funding there. Funding's up there anyway, so I've moved it down. And I've just put more socials up here because I've just set up a new Twitter and Instagram account. I don't post to these. I never use them. So I've just set them up, and I'm going to start posting to them as well. So the idea is I've set this new bot up that I can post everything I post. All goes out to Telegram, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at the same time. Unless I'm just chatting in Telegram. But what I mean by posting out is live room is live. Trade ideas, completed trades, anything that's interesting and useful. And I'll be doing a bit more marketing on the indicators and stuff because I don't really do anything with that. So I thought I might push those and see if I can make a living out of selling stuff instead of trading. So did I say cardinal sin then? So yeah, let me have a look at the intraday. So the intraday, the reason I took that CAD Swiss was basically on fundamentals. So this sentiment for the CAD Swiss. I put gold in here as well today. I posted this. I've stuck gold in, so we've got gold in there now. Sentiment only. You're gonna struggle to get a cop bias on gold, because I'll show you why. Gold, you will often find moves with the US dollar, and again, the historical cop data is going to show this a little bit, I think. But you'll quite often find these guys will be positioned similarly. So I don't think you're going to get a cop bias on it. But I've put it in the sentiment. So you can take the sentiment of it, which is obviously retail. So you want to be going long on it at the moment. Also, as well, I forgot to mention, I've tweaked the settings on this. So the way that this is my fault. I'm just waffling away while the Nasdaq's opening. So 5 minutes going in now. I've got another minute on that, another 50 seconds or so. So the way I had this set up, the way I wanted it to work was, did I even put up there? No, I haven't actually put how I calculate this. But the way that I calculate it, or the way that I wanted it to calculate, and I found a bug in my calculations, was if we are over 60, we score it as a 1. If we're over 75, we score it as a 2. What my calculations were doing were saying if it was over 60, i.e. it had to be 61 or higher, then it was giving it a score of 1. So what it was doing was missing out all the 60s and the 75s were being given either a 0 or a 1. So that to me is actually we want to be buying the US dollar CAD. And obviously, as you can see, what I do with these is I round them. And I suddenly realized that my rounding meant that if something was sitting at 60.01, it was being scored as the wrong thing. So basically, I've just tweaked it. So you'll find you'll have a few more in here than you had before. And the reason I noticed it was because I was using gold and I adjusted it to 70. And I was like, well, why is that showing as a 0? That should have been a 1. And then I was like, I need to go to 69.99. So I've tweaked that. So it doesn't really matter. You don't need to worry about it too much. We want to go with this super big extremes as well. So the reason, bringing me back to my point, CAD Swiss, the reason I'm short on CAD Swiss is because the world and his wife is long. I don't believe they're right. So I'm short. And as you can see at the open, they seem to be agreeing with me. And if you go back to watch this morning's live room, I said with one of two things was going to happen. We were either going to sell out of this zone here, which is this accumulation, and we were going to find sellers. We started to do that. Or we were going to push up into resistance and bounce. So hopefully now that everybody's long, the world and his wife is long, and when they've gone long, they've put their liquidity here to get out. And as they've taken this breakout here, they've put their liquidity here to get out. So I'm anticipating them coming at least down to here, if not sticking an ADR in. So we'll see. 5-minute opening range is in on the NAS. So if you're trading the 5-minute opening range, you are short already out of this propulsion gap. ADRs. Whoops. So yeah, so that's everything that I'm in at the moment. ADRs, there's loads. So I will go through these. Let me just catch up on the chat. Afternoon, Evil. Afternoon, Brian. MPA, can I use position strategy to be approved in a prop firm? If you're very careful. You can use, yeah, of course, you can use any strategy you like, as long as you're not using, well, it depends. Some prop firms don't allow martingale. So that's the only thing you've got to be careful of. But don't use martingale, for God's sake, don't use martingale anyway. But if you're going to use any kind of lot multiplier, so in the EA set files that I use a lot multiplier of 1.3. You can use that in most prop firms. You can't martingale is classed as double. So if you go in with one lot, the next one is 2, the next one is 4, the next one is 8. That is what they class as martingale. If you go in at 1 and then you add the next one at 1.3 and then the next one at 1.6 and then the next one at 1 point whatever, 2.1 or whatever it is, that's not martingale. But do the course. Obviously, you probably have already. Yeah, up to you. But the trouble you are going to find with position trading is this. You've got to be very careful with your leverage and your exposure. It's very easy to hit 5% very quickly. I was up to 4.1% on this account yesterday. You just got to be very careful. So I would say if you're going to do prop, and this is something I'm now realizing, now I'm position trading prop, is limit yourself to a single exposure. Yeah. On each instrument, and that's it. Do not get double exposed because you will get drawn down too fast. If you're going to go in with a double, you've got to be very careful with your risk. But it can be done. I'm just not 100% convinced. I wish you hadn't have posted that, Brian. I really want a beer now. It's afternoon with a beer glass chinking, and I really fancy a beer. It's Friday afternoon. I got a spin class at 5 o'clock, so I can't. So yeah, that's what I would recommend if you're going to try it. And when I get out of this weekend, when I get out of these positions, I think that's what I'm going to do moving forward. That Dow opening range, yeah, it was horrible. Oh, Dow opening range, sorry. But it said DAX. Oh, yeah, he's a biggie. 141 point range. Wow, that's big. That's a quarter of an ADR. It's more than a quarter of an ADR. ADR is 470. ADR is a quarter of an ADR is 118. That's 140. So that's about a third of an ADR ish in one candle. That's a nasty one. Similar to the DAX though this morning. Look, I mean, DAX did it in multiple candles, but that opening range on the DAX in the first sort of 25 minutes was nearly half an ADR. Didn't give you any opportunity to get into anything, did it? So hopefully the Nasdaq will do something different today. So the 5 and the 10 is in. 5 minute open, 10 minute, 5 minute high, 10 minute low. So if this 15 minute closes an inside bar of the 5, the breakouts are going to be there. Dances with Wolves, S&P. You've put S&P question mark. You haven't actually said what you want. Afternoon, Freeman. S&P question mark. What about it? So let me just watch this open. We've got 3 minutes left. So there's plenty of ADR hits today. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to start posting on well, the plan is to start posting in, say, I have lots of plans, don't I? But the plan is to start posting on social media and in the Telegram group hindsight trades, not for the sake of going, look at how amazing that trade was, because I didn't take it, but for educational purposes, to explain why, and what happens. So, for example, ADRs, I will look through the charts every day. I'm not going to do it every day, realistically. I'm just not going to be able to do it. But Aussie dollar yen, for example, is coming off of 150. Aussie dollar Swiss, has that come off? No. Just trying to find one that's come off of ADR so far. CAD Swiss is off of 100. CAD Yen's coming off of 150. Euro Swiss is coming off of, that's consolidating. Euro Yen, I'm not going to find one now, am I? Is there one that's played out yet today? Yeah, that one do. So I want to post things like this just to show usage. So reversal alert at ADR, pop. Quarter of an ADR move, that's it, you're done. So not actually taking every single one of these, because it's not practical to take every single one, because you're going to overexpose yourself massively if you take every one. But I want to show the usage, it's basically what you should be looking for. What you take is entirely up to you. How you manage it is entirely up to you. What I'm wanting to do is demonstrate how the things are used. After this morning, we were talking about ADR a lot. And it's just a case of, this is the sort of thing you want to use it for. This is what it can do. This is how you can use it. Obviously, whether you use a stop or not, with what position trade it, what you're doing with it is irrelevant. It's the fact that it is respected and demonstrating what happens at exhaustion. Just to drum home the exhaustion thing. Flex like everyone else. Lambo Lee, yeah. No, I'm not taking these. That's not what it's for. It's more. I used to learn a lot. One of my mentor, I think again, one of my mentors, I had one mentor that flipped my life around basically in trading, and he made me flashcard everything. He called them flashcards, and he made me flashcard everything. Literally every time I got into a trade, I had to take a screenshot of it. Every time I got out of the trade, I had to take a screenshot of it, and then every week I had to go through every screenshot. Because and this is what I teach in the bootcamp. I tell you to go into your P&L and drag your P&L onto your chart. Look at your trades every week. You took that. Why did you take it? What happened? What happened after it? You got out of that trade. So, something like Euro Swiss, for example. You got out of that trade this morning. What happened after you got out of it? It went all the way up there. So, if you see this over and over again, it gets burnt into your brain that I always get out too soon. I always get out too soon. I always get out too soon. After a while, you'll stop getting out too soon, because every time you go, I'm going to close this, you'll go, every time I close it, it goes further. It goes to where I said it was going to go to. And that's the sort of thing I just want to pump out onto social media to say, look, this is what happens all the time with ADR. When these reversal alerts kick in, this is how far they can go, that sort of stuff. You can't trade every single reversal alert on every single pair, but you can pick good examples to show what people are looking for. It just helps educate, doesn't it? But I'm not going to say I took anything, because I won't have taken anything. And I certainly ain't got a Lambo. Although my son would absolutely love that. I've had many Porsches. The only reason I've had many Porsches is because I can't afford a Lambo. Not I'd want one, because the bills on a Lambo, bills on a Porsche are bad enough. Bills on a Lambo, my God. My mate had a Bentley Continental GT. You know the backlight, there's a strip light on the back window on a Bentley Continental GT. His blue. One bulb, LEDs. I think there's about 20 LEDs in that something. One of those LED bulbs blew. And they said, sorry, we can't replace the LEDs. We need to replace the unit. No problem. How much is that, sir? £10,000. For a backlight that is actually not even a backlight and required by law. It sticks in the back of your window. So yeah, I'm not really interested in owning an exotic supercar. The Porsche, my Porsche, I've had 911s and Boxsters all for years. The 911s, literally every time it goes in the garage, regardless of what it's for, it comes out with a minimum of a £1,500 to £2,000 bill. A minimum. Yeah. Goes into the garage because a light bulb's gone. It comes out with 4 new tyres at 1,250 quid. It's like, I just went in because the light bulb had gone. And he's like, yeah, your brakes are going as well, mate. You're all right next time. Third world problems. Right. NAS is inside bar on the 15-minute at the moment. So we'll see. NASDAQ, obviously, we've had quite a few down days. See what the Dow's doing. Right, so the Dow, okay, so we got divergence, indice divergence here. So there's your 15-minute OR on the Dow. There's your 15-minute OR on the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is sitting up around the highs. Dow hasn't even managed to crack 50% of its opening range. So the Dow is massively bearish. NASDAQ's massively bullish, which means that one of these is wrong. So we need to decide which. The Dow typically tends to be the stronger of the two. And we see that a little bit be in charge a lot of the time. So that would indicate that we will see some more downside potentially on the NASDAQ. But we will see if this thing pops. Obviously, that's going to help the NAS get out of the highs. We'll see what happens. Brian, sounds like the garages here in the US. It's just garages in general, isn't it? I don't even go to a Porsche specialist because I can't afford a Porsche specialist. They're even worse. It's £120 an hour for a Porsche mechanic. I take it to an ex Porsche. No, he's an ex Lamborghini. No, I can't remember what he was. He's ex supercars anyway. He's ex Lambo or Porsche. And he's got his own garage now, and all he deals with is Porsche, Lamborghini, and Ferrari, and Bentley. That's all he does. Those four. So he only deals with expensive, which is probably the way to go. If you want to be a mechanic, why not be a mechanic with really expensive stuff? He's got it made. He's £80 an hour. Still £30 an hour cheaper than a Porsche mechanic. Anyway, enough about cars. I feel like my major problem is exiting trades. It goes up, then slightly down, and I panic and close it. Then it goes further up. So easy solution for that, Sancho. So if you're long like me on the Euro Swiss, and you've taken this trade on the 5-minute chart, jump up 2 time frames and monitor your trades on that time frame. Yeah. So if you look here today on the Euro Swiss, since this thing will put this big move in at the London Open and then screamed up to ADR, what it's done is it's traded like that. Okay. So this candle that started the move here, and then this move through the top, is that candle there. Has that really given me any reason to get out today? No, because all that happened was it pushed up, pulled back, came back down, didn't break that high there, and then it pushed up again, had a little push down, then closed up. Yeah, so we've had one bearish candle, which was a bearish engulfing, I'll give it that. But then we had an inside bar, then we had a hammer, which is bullish, then we had a bullish engulfing. So there's no reason for me to exit it. Drop down onto your 5-minute time frame that you entered on today, and what you've actually had is a push up, a huge pullback, then it pushed up again. So this is the big push up to the top, and then a huge reversal, a reversal alert, and a retest of that reversal alert going south. That's massively bearish. So you would have got out there or there or there, and now it's sitting here. But I haven't seen any reason to get out of this. Simple solution. The other solution is also to do this. If you're not watching it, you can't get out. Sounds stupid. Again, go back to one of my mentors, my main mentor. I was trading on H4 charts at the time, and he said to me, basically, open up your platform every 4 hours, do your analysis, which takes 15 minutes, put your trades on, adjust your trades, adjust your TPs and stop losses, and then shut your terminal. Set an alarm in Outlook, Google Calendar, Alexa, whatever you want, to open up your charts again in 4 hours and have another look. That way, you've got 4 hours where you are never going to touch that trade. Do you know what my best, and the thing that hammered this home for me, my best trades, without fail, always, and today is a prime example. Yeah, look at what I banked this morning. NASDAQ were out the highs. I wasn't watching the monitor. Look at what I banked this morning, right? Pound New Zealand. Was that it? That was Euro Swiss, wasn't it? But that's probably not a good example. But that one, Pound New Zealand. Look at that trade. Now, why did I make such a lovely profit on this? Yeah, because I got into the trade in New York. I went to my spin class. I came home. I got into my bed, and I was asleep. And then I woke up and I looked at my chart and went, oh, I love that. The reason that ran and made me money was because I wasn't watching it. I was asleep in bed. And you will find this. I make more money on, and this is in all my analysis, I make more money on the Aussie, the New Zealand, and the yen than I do with any other trades because I'm not watching the things. It's fact. If you don't watch it, you can't take it off. Worst case scenario is it can hit your TP if you let it. So the solution is either go up a time frame, go up 2 time frames. Yeah, Euro Swiss, 4-hour time frame. Right? Is there any bearish candle on 4-hour there? Is there any reason whatsoever to close that Euro Swiss long? No. If you got in here, or anywhere up here, short, there's not been one candle there that's given you a reason to get out. Lower, high, bearish candle. Yes, it's got a long wick, but it's got a long wick to the upside. Next candle, massively bearish candle. Lower high, lower low. Next candle, inside bar, bear candle. Next candle, inside bar, bull candle. Next candle, outside bar, bear candle. Next candle, lower high, lower low. Next candle, lower high, lower low. Next candle, inside bar. Next candle, almost an inside bar, bear candle. Bullish engulfing, higher high, higher low, exit. You look at that period there from 4 in the morning on the 17th until basically this low. 4 in the morning on the 17th here, right? No way you wouldn't have got out on that. That would have scared the life out of you. We're accumulating. Oh, I've lost more money. Oh, we've gone down. Oh, no, it's come back up again. Collapse. That entire section there and that pullback would have scared the life out of you. But you would never have seen it if you were trading the 4-hour charts. Just a tip. It's hard to disconnect yourself from the charts, but I say in practice it sounds really easy, doesn't it? But it's actually really hard to do in real life. We've got real divergence on this NASDAQ here. So the Dow is pushing down and the NASDAQ's broken out the highs. So we've got divergence. I really need to see this Dow rally. If this Dow attempts new lows, the NASDAQ is going to fail. So I really want to see this rally to give this any chance of actually getting anywhere this morning. Let's check out what settings I've got. I've got a feeling I'm just going to stick add to trades on. I'm just going to add to add after 20 points basically. Right, so let's have a look at ADRs. So today so far, let me just pull the Dow up on my other platform 1 sec, just so I can watch that with the NASDAQ. Seems okay at the moment. It's thinking about it's putting in new highs, so we need to crack this level though. So ADRs so far today, we've got loads. So all of these are potential entries. What I would say is go over to the sentiment and have a look at what you've got today in line. So Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar is a nice short. Why is that blank? What have I broken? That's pound New Zealand. And that is Euro New Zealand. So for some reason, it doesn't like the word NZD. Okay, well, if you hover over it, it tells you what it is. Why is that doing that? Okay, I'll figure that out later. So your top sellers at the moment, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. Top buys are Euro CAD, Euro Yen, and New Zealand dollar CAD, which I'm on. And then obviously these are pretty good as well. Euro odd, New Zealand Swiss, and US dollar CAD. So having a look through the ADRs, Aussie dollar Swiss is hit to the upside. So potential reversal on this one. This one did come off already. And obviously it's pushed up and had a second bite of the cherry. But Aussie dollar Swiss, I'm just trying to think of the best way to do this. Look at the odds first. Aussie dollar Swiss is a is a short. So we want to be shorting this basically. There's no cop bias on it, but retail is all massively long on these. So potentially nice looking short opportunity there on that one. Up at ADR. So that's a good short. Aussie dollar yen. 150 ADR. So all of these yens are very, very weak today. Every single yen pair has almost, apart from the Swissy, has pushed up quite high. So euro yens are 125. Pound yen is over 100. New Zealand yen 125. US yen just over 100. They're still very, very strong. They are starting to pull back a little bit, but I'd just be a bit careful with all of these. There's no real news. Oh, there is. This is me, head down programming and stuff and not actually looking. We will continue to expand. Oh, no, I saw that. Yeah, we saw that this morning, didn't we? Yeah. And that's all bullish. So it's not any reason why this should be dropping. So yeah, there's no real news I can see that should be affecting this in any way, shape, or form. So I kind of like that. Sorry, just need to watch this now. The Dow's failing basically. So we put in a new high, but this is not letting the Dow up. There's too much selling pressure here, which is obviously dragging the Nasdaq back down again. So I'm just concerned about the about this starting to run. This happened the other day, and as soon as the Dow starts to run, the Nasdaq will just go vroom, 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 and it'll be down at the lows before you know it. News in 1 minute. Yeah, 3 o'clock. Sorry, yeah, that's the housing sales, existing home sales. Positive. Again, that's bearish index. Positive news for the US, but you'd need the US to actually rally on that, and I don't think it will. It's not really important news. I'm more interested in whether the Dow drops or not. Okay, I'll let that go for a minute. So I just saw it. I saw a big spike come down out of the corner of my eye on my other monitor. So I just wanted to look at it. So yeah, all these yens, just be careful with them because they are rallying very, very hard. I really like everything yen short. So I kind of like yens short, but I'm steering clear of it at the minute. The yen. I want it to be very extended and at a decent level. I say that pound yen's getting there, isn't it? I can't take any more exposure on the pound though. I'm fully exposed on the pound, so I can't take that myself. But yeah, with any of these yens, I want to get in at an area that makes logical sense. So an ADR hit to the upside, resistance, 1 hour extension, that makes total sense. So that looks really, really good. Just looking at these others, New Zealand dollar yen, see that's miles. It's just in the middle of no man's land at the moment. We are bearish, but so slightly bearish. And that one, we didn't get a new low in, and we just put in an ever such slight new high. So it's just confusing at the minute, the yen. Yeah, it's hopping around like crazy, as you can see. And you need to be in this and just sit tight and wait for the move to happen. The trouble is at the moment, you don't know which way the move's going to happen. Lovely rejection on the Nasdaq just going in at the moment. The Dow is still inside bar though, so it can't really get up. So yeah, I really just don't like any of them at all. They're all very high RSI ADR extensions, but I just, from a fundamental and a technical perspective, there's just nothing really where they are. ADR today, because of this huge undoing of this Japanese move, ADR is just in the middle of nowhere. It's in no man's land. So I just don't really want to take any trades on any yens at the minute. But I mean, they could all work out perfectly, and they probably will, because this is a big extension. But look at it. I mean, it's just flying up. And then you have to wait for it to fly down. And you have to wait for it to fly up. And then it's just utterly chaotic at the moment. Like a lot of the market at the moment. But the yen is really bad. So all the yens, be very careful with. CAD Swiss we've looked at. I'm short already on that one. But this is I've got myself into a CAD Swiss short, which I don't mind because I'm on side with sentiment on it, strongly on side with sentiment on it. So I'm happy to build a position into this actually, although I shouldn't do because of exposure. But yeah, what the hell? I like it. We got this propulsion gap here from this accumulation. This didn't quite break that low, although that might be a broker candle. CAD Swiss, no, probably not. So it didn't quite break that low. So that propulsion candle is probably where I would expect to find resistance, around here somewhere. So I'm happy here with a short. Dow is just making new high on the candle. So new high's gone in. And Nasdaq's pushing hard. Nasdaq's new high of the day. High of the session, sorry. Which I guess is high of the day, isn't it? Because it's New York. So yeah, high of the session, high of the day. New high. Second long. This is the 1530 range. So this is the Tom Hugard strategy, if you like, which was what he calls the school run strategy. So I'm just testing this to see if it's any good. The thing that concerns me about this is we've missed the cash balance opening range break. So the only time I can see this really working is if you get a continuation. Unless you trade it on its own, obviously. If you trade it on its own, then it doesn't matter because that's your first trade, isn't it? But with the way that I'm trading of the initial 15-minute opening range, I really need this to go long for it to work. Because when it comes back down, I'm going to get in a short. But yeah, I mean, it'll work very nicely on a trend today. So we'll see what happens. So other ADRs we've got. If the Dow makes new highs, we're going to get a beautiful run, because if the Dow makes new highs at the open, we're going to test the high of the session, which means the Nasdaq's going to get really catapulted today. We ought to quickly look at where we're going with the Nas. So that level there is our first stop, which is 11,478. Failing that, propulsion gap, which is 125 ADR roughly. So if we're going to get a nice trend day today, 125 is next stop, but we're going to need to get through that area 11,480-ish. So that's where I would head. So somewhere around there is where we want to be watching. So CAD Swiss we've covered. Euro Swiss, obviously I'm long Euro Swiss at the moment, so I'm not taking an ADR short on this. Again, from a sentiment perspective, I like it long. I did like it long, but it's still got COT bias. So, and sentiment, just overall bias is long on it. So, Euro 70% long, Swiss 75% short. So it's a big long from a COT perspective. which is why I'm long on that one. So I'm not really looking for ADR reversals on it, but I mean, the ADR reversal has already happened. Yeah. Don't forget on ADR reversals, we're only looking really for around about a quarter to a half an ADR move from the top. So that's 30 pips. 35 is half an ADR. So you've had half an ADR. You wouldn't have got in a reversal alert on this one because it was too big. But you still would have got 15 out of it, which is just under a quarter of an ADR. So that's an ADR reversal completed. Don't forget these are scalp trades. I want to see a push on the Dixie. I want to see a drop on the Dixie because I'm long on the indices. So, but I do also want to see a push on the indices because I'm long on pound US dollar. I'm short on pound US dollar on the Dixie. So yeah, I want it to go both ways. These opens are just so insanely choppy. Haven't seen anything like that for a long time. Yeah, no, we are in a very choppy phase at the moment. But saying that, we've had 2 really good trend days. We've had 3 good trend sessions that returned a good 5 to 10k on a 100k account. So unfortunately, we've had a few choppy ones in there, but the choppy days have not been that bad, depending on which opening ranges you've been using. If you've been using the 15-minute opening ranges, the chop days have been actually not that painful because they've been inside range. So you've had a break, stop, short, sit around for a bit, maybe close out end of day or chop. So you will have lost 1 or 2 positions on the choppy days, but the winners, the runners, have been 4 or 5 R returns. So this, I mean, it's a long-term strategy. It's a long-term edge. Choppy days, you're just not going to have much fun, are you? Euro Swiss, Euro Yen, Pound Odd, ADR. So that's already played out. We missed that one. That was a lovely ADR. That's an absolute textbook one. That's the sort of thing I want to post. Textbook. Shows market structure reversal at extreme. Shows a retest of the area. It's just absolute. If you want to take a photograph of the perfect ADR reversal, that's it. Obviously, the perfect one would go like that, but we live in the real world. Pound Swiss. So that's still pushing at the moment. Really weak Swiss franc. And obviously the pound's been fairly strong lately, but this is a weak Swissy. So that one, potentially you can still get onto. We are just coming up into support. Oops. There as well. So that's that low there, and the move started here. So somewhere around there. Exactly where we are at 125 ADR as well. I'd expect that to drop, which makes me really want to take my Euro Swiss off. But that's a good looking opportunity for a short at the moment. Reversal alert will be just under the ADR level, and you've got a propulsion gap to aim for down there. M15. Yeah. Nice propulsion gap. However, this propulsion gap is not particularly reliable because it didn't break the range. So with wide range bar strategy, your propulsion gap really should break a range. When that happens, it's just exhaustion to get through there would tend to bring it back down to retest it. So, but I still like it as a short. Pound is a short, Swiss is a short, so there's no bias on COT. There's no bias on retail, so it's not. Again, this is partly why I'm building this site out, because there's literally no bias either way on that. So your odds are 50-50 obviously anyway, but you've got less chance of it coming down because you've got no strong bias from COT or from retail to actually drive it this way. The fundamentals aren't particularly great on this either. Pound yen, pound New Zealand. So this is we're down at ADR. Obviously, this is why I got out this morning at 125. So we came straight down, slammed straight through 100 ADR, straight into 125 and bounced. Got the reverse alert there. So you've had a little bit of a push off of it, but it's not getting anywhere at the moment. You got very little off of that actually, 35 pips, which is a quarter of an ADR. So it did give you the quarter of an ADR. Again, I'm short this. I like it short from a fundamental perspective. New Zealand dollar Swiss, big push to the upside. ADR reversal potentially on this one. So you had a reversal alert here for a short at ADR, and it's pushed a little bit further this morning. So again, New Zealand dollar Swiss, from a perspective of retail sentiment, they're all short. Well, 60% of them are short, which means that the market is likely to push higher because as those shorts come in, liquidity goes above, and that's exactly what you saw at ADR today. Yeah, reversal alert was here. You enter short, liquidity gets grabbed. 3-bar reversal, push, pause, pull, liquidity grabbed. Christmas trees, as I call them, short, liquidity grabbed. Yeah, so the market is short. So the liquidity is high. That's where it's going. New Zealand dollar yen and US dollar yen. So we covered all the yens. So that's all your ADRs. A few potential good ones in line with sentiment in general. I really wish I knew why that wasn't putting those in. Absolutely no reason for it to leave those out. Pound New Zealand and Euro New Zealand. My programming brain is broke. What's the same? What? Let me see. Is there anything similar? They've both got 0 retail. That's got a positive 0 cot, and that's got a negative cot. There's no difference. They're not the same in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. It's a problem for another day. I don't care. 4 hours. So RSI's on the 4-hour pound CAD. So very nice extension to the upside, coming straight off of resistance. Why did I draw that line in? Those highs, wasn't it? So we're coming straight off of that high at the moment. Lovely pullback into propulsion. This is the propulsion gap here. So there's your accumulation. That's your propulsion move. That's the propulsion gap, which was the origin of the move. So that is where I would expect it to push to. I'm just, sorry, I just need to flick over to this a minute. Dow is really putting back hard. Again, this is why, you know, when you're watching the charts, I'm on my right-hand monitor now, I'm watching the Dow and the NASDAQ out the corner of my eye every few seconds. And because I'm watching it constantly, I'm jittery. Yeah. I'm over-analyzing this move. Rightly or wrongly, I'm playing a scalp here with a trade. I'm trying to scalp a strategy that is a long-term breakout trend strategy. And my scalping brain is saying this is coming down. I want to get out. My ORB brain that knows that the long-term edge is to actually leave these alone and let them run is saying carry on. So I'm just, this is the problem with, this is why I built the EA so that I wouldn't have to watch this. Trouble is when you're live streaming, you are watching it all the time, aren't you? So I can't get away from it. I'm the victim of my own success. But that hasn't broken that low. We've double bottomed. So at the moment, we are still bullish. However, it's not particularly wanting to go anywhere, is it, at the moment, the Dow? What I'm concerned about is this dropping. If this drops, this will drop. So what I'm looking for is this to get supported so that we can get in long and stay long. Order above the high of that candle is a really nice long. If that NASDAQ now pushes out of those highs, this Dow will pop. But I'll leave it alone. I'll try and leave it alone. Pound CAD, yeah, so nice RSI extension. It's coming off of RSI nicely, but we are just accumulating. That is a nice short, but the Canadian dollar is also weak. So you've got a week against a week, which gives you not much movement. And then we had that pound push this week. So it's a good looking trade. I like it. Pound Swiss is pushing up into ADR, extended on the 4 hour. This is the support area I drew from there to there, which is exactly where we are at the moment. So that is actually a good looking short. M5, wait for the reversal alert. That's potentially a good jump in short. Bear in mind, this is Friday afternoon. So, you know, you might have to hold it over the weekend. Come on, Dow. So undirectional at the market at the minute. So that's pound Swiss. So those are your 4 hours. Hourlies, there's tons lit up. I'm not going to go through all the yens. It's pretty obvious the yen is massively extended. Yeah. Up to you on these. I really don't know on the yen. I'm biased that way. I'm struggling though to find areas to get into these yens, because the trouble is the moves are so fast and so hard. You've kind of just got to sit there, press the button and sit and wait. And then you've just got to hold on tight when these moves start. As you can see, what seems to be happening with the yen at the moment is sit around doing nothing, ADR, sit around doing nothing, ADR, sit around doing nothing, 200% ADR, sit around doing nothing, ADR. So when you've got an instrument that's acting that erratically, there's nothing you can do but sit in it, press the long and the short button, and just hope that your stop's out of the way. So you can't really do much with this, but everything is massively extended on the hourlies, as you can see. Aussie dollar yen's extended, CAD yen, Euro yen, New Zealand yen, pound yen, US yen, all off the chart. Massive extensions on RSI, all great mean reversion opportunities. All ADRs as well. So, you know, they're all great. But do you want to take one on a Friday afternoon? Don't know. Go on, Dow. Trying really, really hard to put in a new high, but it's just not quite getting it. There we go. We got it. Just. So we're bullish. NASDAQ's pushing new highs. New high of the day on the NAS. Really, really just want this Dow to crack that. As soon as it cracks that, we'll get a pop out the highs there and the NASDAQ will fly. But this is really being held back by something at the moment. Don't know what, but right. So yeah, so there's all the hourlies on the yens. As I say, I'm leaving them alone, but they are all very good potential ADR reversals today. They could all play out very, very nicely. Brian, I'm thinking a sweep of liquidity at 102,900 on the Dixie. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't got the Dixie. On Euro US dollar, it'll be upside down. So this is the Dixie in inverse. So I assume you're probably talking about sweeping there or there in equivalence. Luke, I really need a second monitor. I've got 3. I've got a 42-inch in front of me and 2 on their side, 28 inches to my left and right of the 42-inch. So it's like I'm pretty much sitting in the Millennium Falcon, wrapped with screens wrapped around me. It's lovely. Quite distracting though. It's not actually good. multiple monitors are really bad for productivity, especially when you can put your Xbox or your PlayStation on your big 42-inch and still do work on the side ones. Or basically watch Amazon Prime on your main monitor and monitor the markets to the left and right of you. It's great. Stick some tunes on. We got 150 on New Zealand dollar Swiss. Hopefully is that a weak Swiss franc? No, that's strong New Zealand dollar. So my New Zealand dollar CAD trade will be doing very nicely. I've just banked something else. Pound New Zealand. Out one more pound New Zealand. Just post that. Oh, can't even see it. Hang on. Might help if we could see the trade. And New Zealand dollar CAD's doing nicely. So again, looking at New Zealand dollar CAD, the whole of the London session, yeah, we had that Canadian dollar news, yeah, and it pushed down. But you know, it didn't even come back down to the Asian midline. We broke out the Asian highs. We chopped around for the entire session. We had a little news event that came down. Then we had a bullish engulfing. If you're watching and monitoring on the hourly charts, there's zero reason to get out of this, really. You could have got out on that. But when that happened, I almost posted I'm moving break even on it. And then I thought, what's the point? Might as well just hold on to it. And obviously now it's pushing. So my target is up at ADR. So I'm not being greedy with it, but probably 0.5%. Yeah, roughly. But you know, monitoring it on the M5 when that news came out, we pushed up and then slammed down and then slammed down and then broke that low. At that point, you're thinking what you've seen is equivalent of around about 30% of your profit wiped off of your P&L. So you're thinking, screw this, I'm getting out. And that's the trouble. You get out here all the time. And if you keep getting out when you're spooked, what happens is your risk reward over a period of time just reduces to negatives. And that's why you can't make money, because you never let anything run long enough to get a profit. Hard to do. Oh, how I know that feeling, Pain. Do not let the EAs do their work. Yeah. This is the problem. God, we've got complete inverse happening now on the. This is going to drive me nuts today. So, Dow, we've got a lovely bullish engulfing. Higher high, higher low. Lovely. And it's pushing. What's the NASDAQ doing? Opposite. So now we've got divergence, got positive move and negative move together. You work it out. I can't work it out this morning, this afternoon. It's schizophrenic. If that Dow Jones does break that high, though, the NASDAQ should turn around and run. But it's all schizophrenic today. It thumbs the market up at the moment. It really does. So on the hourlies, quickly whiz through the hourlies. Aussie dollar Swiss. Very nice extended. It's pushing high. So this is that area I highlighted. So we're through that. So running up into accumulation here at 125. So anywhere around there would be your next stop to start looking for some kind of reversals to happen. Go on, Dow. You can do it. Aussie dollar yen. So the CAD Swiss, nice extension. I'm short on this one. Obviously, this is the trade I took this morning based on the sentiment only. A little bit overextended on this now, which is silly. I shouldn't be. I might actually close one of these out. It's only going to be like, what's that? I'll do $150 on it, just because I've got these two positions too close together, really. So I'll shut that one out and take $150 loss on it if I need to, if it goes there, which is basically the top of that propulsion gap. That's a silly place to put it. 153. There's the wick. That's the Asian low of that day. So that wick there, that's where we broke. That's where that propulsion that broke this low was. So that would be the point of no return. If it gets through that level, this propulsion gap's invalidated. So we're looking at this area. So stop above there. 150 New Zealand yen. New Zealand is still pushing. Obviously, New Zealand is still pushing. So then New Zealand dollar yen, obviously, because we've got a weak yen, that's going twice as far as everything else. Euro Swiss, we know about. That's stuck. So hourly extension, we've got a bearish divergence starting to show. It's slightly down, so it's not particularly clean. If you look on M15, you'll probably find there's bearish divergence there. Oh no, it's not. It's sort of is. That should really be like that. Pound New Zealand 150 ADR. Reliance cheese demand will keep the LNG volatile. Cheese demand. Oh, Chinese demand. How did I read that as cheese? I'm going to change that. There you go. Cheese demand will keep the LNG volatile. That's what I read. Cheese demand. That's a little programming tip people don't know. I really fooled my son with this. We did what's it called? Not a paternity test. A test where you get your genetics through. I can't remember what it's called. We did one of those tests anyway with him. And we got this joke because he's got quite dark eyebrows and hair and everything. So we keep saying he looks like a Mexican. So we got his results back on, it's 23andMe, the website. And the results are all on the website. So I loaded it up on my laptop and that's a DNA test. So just before we called him down to show him the results, I went into the inspector and changed his nationality from English to Mexican. The shock on our kids' faces. What? Mexican? It was hilarious, but that's a really good tip. You know, if you want to say, Ford plans to cut staff at sausage plant in Cologne, you can do that. Ford plans to cut staff at the sausage plant in Cologne. Take a screenshot of that, post it in Telegram, confuse the hell out of everybody. It's great fun programming. Anyway, where was I? Euro Swiss. Yeah, so Euro Swiss has got is getting tired, but that Swiss franc is still weak. So I'm holding on to that. I'm going to decide what to do with all of these positions end of day today. I'm probably just going to bank and close out as much as I can and then start again next week. Euro Swiss, Euro Yen is extended. We've looked at those. Pound Swiss is the same. Big push to the upside because of the extension. We've looked at that on the ADR as well. A lot of these we're looking at obviously ADR extensions as well. So they've all got a chance to come back down. New Zealand Swiss we've also looked at. That's extended. 150 now. Right, so New Zealand Swiss, there's nothing to stop this one until we get up to these highs now. So we've broken this level here. So that support resistance is bashed. So this is clear space to run. So if this does get anywhere near there today, I would be very keen on shorting that one. Let's look at the fundamentals on this at the moment. So New Zealand dollar Swiss is a long. There we go. Don't want to be shorting it. Forget that. But even with fundamentals, a 175 to 200% ADR move, we are going to get a profit take of some description. You'll get a quarter to a half ADR out of that pretty easily. We're really stalling out now. So we're at critical mass basically on the Dow. So the Dow Jones, that is the high. We've just tapped straight into that high and double topped it. We're getting rejection on the NASDAQ. So really want to see this NAS get a run out of here and have a bull candle. We've got 18 seconds left. So in the next candle, if this doesn't manage it, the next candle, I want to see bullish, ideally. If we get an inside bar, we've just got potential to just a flip-flop around. It's not got any strength. Oh, sorry, that's 15-minute. So yeah, there's a double top. So this propulsion gap basically. Struggling. It's really struggling to get anywhere today. Again, not holding that much hope. I kind of want to shut it, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. So New Zealand dollar Swiss we looked at. US dollar Swiss is the other one. So US dollar Swiss is COT is long, retail is also long, meaning that we should go short. Okay. So we should be long with the COT boys. We should be short today because retail is long. So if you look at the retail on US dollar Swiss, 74% of market participants are long. So I'd expect that to be coming down today, which it is now. So it's had a push. COT, the boys are long, so potentially that's come down. But again, when you're getting this situation where you've got conflicting information, so they are long, and COT is also long. You've got these two pushing in opposite directions. COT is always going to win because these are the guys with the pockets that make the market move. So what you want to be is COT in line with retail, the opposite direction. And that gives you that extra potential push. That was just pushing out the low. So that's all the ADRs and RSIs and TDIs and everything all done. So I'm just going to watch the Dow for a bit. And see if we can get that push to the upside. Your subconscious desires cheese. My subconscious desires cheese and wine, red wine or beer. My waistline desires me not to do that. I'm still on dry January. Well, actually, I'm not technically. I am on dry January, but I had a couple of glasses of wine on Wednesday, so technically I'm not. But I didn't fall off the wagon because I only had a couple of glasses. But it's getting really late in January. It's quite hard. You can also do that trick to make withdrawals from your broker look massive. That's a good idea. How would you do that? You don't get statements in your... Oh, yeah, I suppose you do. Yeah, of course you could, yeah. Luke's thinking of starting up a signal service with lots of fake news, everybody. I never even thought of that. I know people manipulate MT4 to show withdrawals and things in here because you can set up your own MT4 server, connect your MT4 to your fake MT4 server, and your MT4 server can be whatever it wants. Obviously, because you're in control of it. So yeah, there's that can be done. You need the MT4 server software, the MCC version or whatever it's called. But somebody got caught doing that, didn't they? Mentioning no names, high-profile trader, educator, and then went on a rant and denied it and was proved wrong. When you withdraw from an account, I can't remember which way around it was, but when you make a withdrawal, it appears in your account as an amount, something like, I don't know, whatever it may be, but it doesn't have, I think, the negative. It's either it doesn't have the negative or it does have the negative, one or the other. Whichever way it is, the person that showed their withdrawals in their account didn't have that there. And it's not something you can change. It's just something that happens in MT4. So it obviously wasn't real. Maybe it was the fact that it has a minus in it and it didn't. I think that's probably what it was. It showed withdrawal and then it showed that, but there was no minus. That's what it was, I think. And some people called the person out on it. It's like, well, it's obviously not real, is it then? There's all sorts of ways to scam, I guess. But my view is if you've got time to scam, you could be spending it much more wisely learning how to do it. I saw some guy in South Africa use it on a dodgy broker. Yeah. There's a lot of South Africans out there. I don't know. There's probably some South Africans in this room. I have nothing against South Africans, but my God, the South Africans that trade, they are dodgy as you like. So dodgy. So dodgy. Every time I've ever had a problem with anything, it's been a South African. Not means I don't have anything against South Africans, but there's a certain type of, I think maybe there's a type of person in every country, isn't there? But they're very well known for their signal services. And you know that new channel that's been set up for the opening range highs and lows of the hour and a half, which he's changed to an hour. That's a South African guy, isn't it? I don't know. I guess it's just one of those scammy nations, like the Russians are all, you know, everybody in Russia's a hacker. They're not all hackers. It's just there's a lot of hackers. I think that's all it is, isn't it? I started. I just missed what that was. That was an ADR. Something said ADR. Lots of stuff said ADR. I started when I first did the indicators. I started an advert campaign on Facebook to South Africa because I knew there's a lot of scammers, a lot of traders in South Africa, or a lot of people that want to trade in South Africa. And the amount of people I had DMing me, and in the Telegram group, if you go back in the Telegram group years, you'll probably see them in there. Like, could you do the indicator for me for $10? It's like, why? Oh, because I haven't got $49. I'm sorry. How are you going to trade? If you haven't got $49 to buy an indicator, how the hell are you going to make money trading? It's like, and I've got $100. How quickly do you think I can turn it into 1,000? You can't. So I stopped trying to attract people from South Africa into the group because there's just no point. It's just living on another planet. But that is the difference between third world and first world, isn't it? I guess, but it's just, you know, I don't have anything against anybody in any country, but there's certain countries that just are very high maintenance when it comes to trying to give information away for free and then taking up all of your life, which is a problem when you start doing stuff like that. It's how scammers foil victims into thinking their bank balance is wrong, thus convincing them that they owe the scammer money. Yeah, there's all sorts of scams out there, isn't there? With lots and lots of things. Unfortunately, trading is one of those industries that is just full of it. It really is full of it. It's one of those industries, you know, like the saying goes, those that can't teach. There's a lot that can't, and there's a lot of courses. You know, there's a lot of that out there in trading. It's easier to make money teaching somebody to do something than it is to do it yourself. Like these business coaches, their business is coaching, not business. It's coaching. Business coaches, they don't run businesses. Or what qualifies you to tell me how to run my business if I had a business? You know. But airline pilots, now they can actually do their job. People that teach people to fly, hopefully they've flown before. Same with brain surgeons. I hope you've cut somebody open before you teach me how to do it. There are certain jobs you need to have actually done and made success of before I think you're qualified to be able to tell someone else how to do something. But yeah, we are struggling up here. I don't like this double top. I'm going to give the Dow this propulsion gap, and in effect the Nas that wick, just because it's Friday afternoon, and Fridays we quite often get a trend day on a Friday, which is why I'm kind of hanging in there. But this doesn't look like it's got the power to get a trend going today. So I would probably might like want to intervene and say, well, if this doesn't get out of the highs here, I'd be hard pushed to find a reason to stay on it. We are still, you know, it's still regularly making highs, the Dow. And obviously the NAS has got lovely structure, and NAS is absolutely textbook market structure at the moment. But it's got to do that, and this has failed to do that. So this needs to do that. Otherwise, I'm not really interested in this. I'm not really interested in it being short either. It's just chop. Instructors for pilots have very rigorous certification requirements. Yeah, so do pilots. I've got a mate who's a pilot, and every 6 months he has to take an exam to keep his job. How scary is that? Imagine getting a job and then every 6 months going back and being asked to pass your exam to do the job again, over and over and over and over and over again. And he's like, literally, he's like a nervous wreck every 6 months for about 2 or 3 weeks coming up to his exam, because he knows if he fails that exam, he's lost his £75,000 a year job. Yeah, unemployed. What are you going to do? Fly planes? Well, you can't. What else can you do? Fly planes. It's really hard work, pilot. Don't envy him at all. Envy his money. We've got 2.5 minutes left on this candle. At the moment, we are looking like we're sticking an inside bar in, just about. New Zealand dollar CAD's pulling back. Blimey. Oh my God. I really wish I hadn't taken that CAD Swiss this morning. Look at that thing go. Swiss franc is on its backside. And so's the euro by the looks of things, because it can't push. Right. I think what I'm going to do, if we get a reversal alert on New Zealand dollar CAD, I'm going to get out. And take that off for the minute. Euro Swiss, same story. Although that's not going to be a reversal alert, but if it breaks this low here, i.e. this propulsion gap, which isn't really because it's more of just a leg rather than an accumulation break, but we're up at ADR, we've pretty much double topped. So if we break that, I'm going to jump out of that one as well on the Euro Swiss. Put those both in the bank, and I'm going to do some drawdown control on this Euro Pound. Because this is just getting a bit deep. We don't seem to be able to get any legs against this pound at the moment. I still like it as a long, but I just need to keep on top of drawdown at the moment because obviously this is an evaluation and I've got a limit. So I'm just going to start working on what is the worst at the moment. Pound New Zealand, I've just got into another position. Oh, the EA is running. 1 second. I'll just get out there. I don't want to take any more on Friday afternoon. Let me just take a quick stop on that. I don't want to take any more Pound New Zealand at the moment. So if that runs, that's fine. I'll let it run. If not, I'll stop out on that. So yeah, I'm just going to do a little bit of DD control on this Euro Pound. I'll see how it goes. If I'll see what I bank basically, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do with it. It's just starting to push now. Look, typical, isn't it? Try all that. Just going to stick a 180 trailer on it. There we go. And Euro Swiss as well. I'll try all that. So yeah, I'll just trail those two basically, and I get stopped out wherever I get stopped out, and then I'm going to do a bit of DD control. I'll post this in the group though. What I'm going to do with those as and when. Let's quickly have a look at this NAS again. So NAS is pulling back. Holding up on the Dow at the minute, so we'll give it another 10-15. See if it's able to stay up today. Brian, so you just posted an outlook on the Dixie. What's that 1 hour chart? So basically, Brian's got that and that, which is what I said, yeah. So that, so he's looking for it to come down and take that liquidity first, and then push from there. Because this is basically the upside down version of the Dixie. Yeah, I just changed my. Yeah, I just changed a figure in my withdrawal history to 400k. Yes. So you're giving me all sorts of ideas now. This is why I do this. This is partly why. I mean, I do it because it keeps me sane. But this is partly why I do this, because no one does this. No one sits here and sticks this live in front of people. Very few people do. You can't question the trades that I'm taking. I'm taking them live and I'm posting them in the Telegram group. So when I come in tomorrow, if all of these are missing because they've all gone massively down and hit a huge stop loss, I can't not put them in there because I haven't got control over this. And everyone would say, where's your New Zealand dollar CAD trade gone? That thing collapsed. Oh, yeah, I'm a broker even on it. I can't do that, can I? Because it's all unfolding in front of your eyes. Which is why I don't post hindsight trades either, normally. But I think I think it's educational. People DM me all the time and say, why don't you post more trade ideas and setups in Telegram? Because I'm only one man and I haven't got time. There's loads of them. Why don't you? Is what my usual answer is. Why don't you post stuff? I've got a course which shows you what I do. Why don't you go and post stuff? Everybody is allowed to post in the group, as long as it's to do with the strategy and the indicators, and you're not going off going, hey, look at this Elliott wave pattern. Not interested in that. There's plenty of groups out there on Telegram, Discord, and all over the internet if you want to trade other stuff. I just want to keep it relevant to what I do with the indicators I use. So everybody's singing off the same hymn sheet, doing the same thing. You have a premium membership? No, I don't do memberships. I'm in here. If people ask me as well, like, can you do it? How much do you want for a one-to-one? Nothing. Come in the live room. I'm in here 6 hours a day. If you want to ask me a question, you know where I am. I'd like to have a one-to-one session with you. Why? Why should you get all the knowledge? Ask the questions, let everybody benefit. Or disagree, either or. I did that. When I was running, I did used to charge for my course. You know what I charge for my course? $49. Everybody else is charging 500 to 2,500. I charge 50 quid. But it's not about that. It's about helping, just educating people on what it's really like, rather than all the fluff. The Lambos. But yeah, I don't really want to do a premium membership because premium membership keeps me accountable. If I get up in the morning, I think, oh, I really can't be asked to trade today. I don't have to do a live stream. If you're paying me $100 a month, I've got to do a live stream. I don't do this job because I want to have a 9 to 5 and be accountable to anybody. I do this because I don't want to be accountable to anybody. If I want to go right now and go and have a beer, I can do that. I can just say, oh, I'd love to do. I'm shutting the stream down. If you're paying me for 2 hours a day, I can't do it. There's plenty of other people out there that will, but then again, they're not going to really help you to trade, are they? Because their job is to be there for you because you're paying them. How'd you get the screen on the right side? What, you mean 2 charts? You just open another chart and then you put it wherever you want. And then you flip between them. So this is just a chart with an indicator on it. It's not voodoo. Right, so we've managed to get the reversal alert on the Dow. So if we got 2 minutes for this candle to close high. If we get that, we should get a quick flurry and a flush in the next sort of 15 minutes up to a run on the highs for the day, which will really push the Nasdaq. But we need this to close bullish, and the next candle not to close as a bearish engulfing, because that would indicate that basically this was the last run of the buyers and they're now out. So it's struggling. It's really, really struggling here. Just can't quite get the momentum. 1 minute. Not that chart, but the data. What date? Sorry, what date, Barry? What data are you talking about? This? Brian, getting the squeaky duck sound on MT4, trying to backtest the market reversal indicator, won't load for some reason. Looking your... Are you talking about the EA or the indicator? Barry, you know your name's not Barry, that's your surname, but I'm going to call you Barry because I don't know what A stands for. But this is the Trade Manager dashboard. So this is an indicator. It's on my website. Trade Manager dashboard. Links are in the description, basically. There is the RSI dashboard, which alerts that. And this is the ADR dashboard. This is the opening range breakout EA, and this is the data window for the opening range breakout EA to tell you what's going on. And this is a chart. Yeah, so this is a dashboard. So this is a trade manager. This is called the Trade Manager Dash. So this is specifically designed and built for position trading. You can use it for trading in general, but it's designed for position trading so that you can keep track of where you are, how over target you are based on what you want to achieve, and your overall exposure across currencies. And it also shows you your positions, how many trades you have on within the position, lots, trades, what your drawdown on the individual, on the overall position is, etc., etc. What you just so basically this is to track your portfolio. Again, it's all covered in the Bootcamp. If you go to my YouTube channel, the Position Trading Bootcamp covers everything that I do. Okay, we're now having another crack at it. There we go. We've got a bit of a pop now. There we go. Worth hanging in there, hopefully. We've got 3.5 minutes on this candle. We'll see if we can get there. Indicator. So the indicator in the strategy tester, obviously you need to go to indicator, as you know, market reverse alerts, indicator. Working fine. I don't know. What you'd need to do is look in your journal and see if there's any problems. One thing to check is use date. Yeah. So if you're getting the squeaky duck when you start, likelihood is you haven't got that date range available. So best thing to do is to literally go to today or go back 2 months and try that date range. Quite often you find whatever date range you've got there is just too far. Some indicators, this one included, have a look back. So if you start it at the very earliest time, or if you use no date, if you set that here, if you don't tick that, it will use the very first available date in your MT4's data. The problem is if whatever you're testing, indicator or EA, has any kind of look back, as soon as it loads up, it will say, I need to look back here and see what happened. If that doesn't exist, I can't operate, and that will fail. So if that happens, you need to use a date. Don't use the very, very earliest one. Waiting for update, yours is saying. I can just see the screenshot you put. So if it's waiting for an update, I can see on your screenshot, yeah, you've got it. You've got the thing set like this, right? Pull it up like that, and you'll see down here, it will tell you that it is compiling M1 or something. But oh no, hang on, no, you haven't got the start button pressed, have you? So 16th of January 2023. I don't know what's wrong with that. Looks fine to me. Your settings. I'm just looking. So obviously, no one has a bloody clue what I'm talking about. That's what he's got. All looks fine. So date is ticked. Every tick got an instrument that's there. Euro, US dollar, M5. Fine. Tick that. Click on that and see what that says. That will tell you what the problem was. When you press the start button, it goes. It will print in there whatever the issue is in your journal tab. There. That will tell you what your error is. It squeaks when I start, then sits. Yeah, so check your journal and it will tell you, because this logs everything that you're doing. But there's nothing wrong with the indicator in the tester. Right, so now we've got the Dow on its way to the high. NAS is now going to take a run at the highs as well. If that, we should get a nice pop. You'll see that pop out the top as long as the Dow continues to rally. So looking at the Dow, those are the levels obviously on the Dow. So we're either going to retest or we're going to pop, one or the other. Either way, the Nasdaq's going to hopefully get through that. I just can't really be bothered with this. I just want to go and do something else. So I'm just getting bored watching this thing this afternoon. Jeremy, will these work in MT5 as well? If you buy if you get the MT5 version, yeah. Obviously, I'm using MT4, but there are versions for MT4 or MT5. So on all the indicator pages on the website, there are two versions. My website's really slow. I've got to update my website. Now I've put all this fundamental data, it's getting so many hits. So you pick the one you want. Oh, I just realized I haven't got the MT5 button there. I will change that. Struggling now, it's the highs. So I've closed Euro Swiss. So I've still got one on Euro Swiss running. Get that in the group. Right. So yeah, you test. Okay. So Brian, you've answered your own question there. Test generator. No history data for Euro US dollar from the 16th of January 23 to the 13th of January 23. Yeah. That doesn't make sense, does it? No test data from the 16th of January 23 to the 13th. You haven't got any data. Right. So what you need to do is go into your chart, drag your, make sure, right, one thing to make sure as well, make sure you're using the right data. So in your broker, often in brokers, there will be two versions of each symbol, especially the majors. So they will have a tab in symbols. So when you go into symbols, So you go to View, Symbols. In here, you will have multiple folders. Quite often, you'll have one folder, you'll have two folders basically containing FX pairs. One of them is an FX pair that is used purely for calculations on P&Ls, yeah, and for account data information. The other version of the pair is used for trading, and they usually have a different suffix or prefix. So you'll have one that will be called something like Euro US dollar dot FX or something, and then you'll have one that is called Euro US dollar. Okay. One of those will be a CFD that you can trade. One of them will be non-tradable. It's what they call a non-tradable instrument. So check that. I think Robo do this. So you might be using the wrong instrument in your strategy tester. There you go. So here you go. In my Robo Forex, I can't move it down, but anyway, so there you go, Forex. So these are my tradable instruments. So you can see I've got Euro US dollar, which is just called Euro US dollar. And I've got in here non-tradable. Oh, hang on. But oh yeah, they don't do it in Robo Forex. But in here, what you would have is you would have something called Euro US dollar dot N or dot something or something dot Euro US dollar. And it's basically the non-tradable version of the instrument. So you need to just check that in the strategy tester, go into your symbols and just check you haven't got another version. If that isn't the problem, what you need to do is go down to M5 in Euro US dollar and just keep hitting the home button on your keyboard over and over and over and over and over and over again. And just keep hitting it and hitting it, hitting it, hitting it, and just keep doing it. And then go up to M15, keep hitting the home button. Yeah, and then keep up to hourly, hit the home button. And what that will do is it will load in loads and loads and loads of data. So I'm going back to April now, March, February, January, December, November. This data wasn't here before, and I'm hitting home button, I'm loading it in. Needed more data, went from the beginning of the month, all good. Right, there you go. Right, just reading Telegram. There you go. A lesson on MT4. Oh, hello, Dow. Hello, NASDAQ. There we go. So there's your pop. Still not very convincing on the NASDAQ, but it is going. So we need to watch this when we get to 33, 20, 220, 22.7, which is going to be, you know, it's all very relative. Yeah. Similar sorts of levels. So that will be where I'll be looking on the NAS. To be honest, it's 12:15. I've got to go out in 20 minutes anyway. So that'll be me done. Right. Okay, no one's got anything else to look at. That's brilliant. So I will I'll post what I'm going to do with these. New Zealand dollar CAD I'm going to get out on the trailer very soon by the looks of things. NASDAQ will be closed out. CAD Swiss I've got into, which I hadn't. Now I am. Never mind. Pound US dollar, pound New Zealand, that's working. That accidental trade is working. I'll take it. It's down at ADR. Highly unlikely. I'm just going to break even that because it's not a trade. So yeah, euro pound. So I need to do something with euro pound. So I've got 1.5% banked today. So I'm just going to do some DD control on this euro pound. So I've got 3 positions on there, and there. So looking at the euro pound, I've got 520, 290 and 36. So this one obviously I don't need to worry about because it's virtually at break even. This one is only in 0.3% of drawdown. This one is 0.5% of drawdown. So I'm actually down below 1% now on it, which is kind of, I'm not actually too worried about that. So I really should, though, get a little bit of this exposure off just in case this actually pushes. So what I will do is I will take off 1/3 of that, which will be, I'll take off a 0.2. And the other exposure I've got was on pound US dollar. So that brings that one down to there. So that 0.5. I'll leave that where it is, actually, because I might, the whole purpose is to keep this within an ADR. So I will leave that where it is. Pound US dollar. Again, this is still pushing. So I have actually already done some drawdown control on this, as you can see. There's not much point in doing any DD control on that at the moment. It is only in 0.4. So I'm just doing this manually at the moment, just because I got a little bit too close. So I'm just going to manually do a bit of DD. But the EA is automatically doing drawdown control for me. As soon as we move one ADR away, it will close out 1/3 of the position automatically for me. So it does do the DD control. It's just that I'm a little over leveraged on this. I was a little over leveraged on the pound, which is why I got into it. But now I've only got 2 positions short. I think I'll probably leave that as it is for the minute. That's all right. 1% take it into the weekend. I can live with that. There we go. I'll post that quickly. So drawdown, oh, wrong one, hang on, sorry. So drawdown control, when you're doing drawdown control, this is all covered in the bootcamp, but the idea is every day, if you're uncomfortable, I'm not uncomfortable at all with this, obviously, in a normal world, but this is a prop account, so I've just got to keep on top of it. But when you're doing drawdown control, the idea is when you're banking every day, you're just putting this into here, putting that over there, everything that gets into profit, you stick it in the bank, you build your bank up for the times when you've got trades which are going a bit too far against you. That one, not that one. And then your job is to use a proportion of this to reduce that. So I've used $200 of my $1,500 today just to ease that a little bit. And what that does with that euro pound is where my average was here, my average is now a little bit closer. Yeah, and I've still banked 1.3% today, but I've now got less distance to go to start to get out of it. And when I get to here, I can close this position out, and then I can use 50% of the profit from there to reduce that down and maybe reduce a little bit of that down. So you're basically, as you're wrong temporarily on a position, if it goes a little bit further than you were expecting it to, you just basically start to reduce out your positions to bring your average down, which means that the next pop you get out of RSI gets you out of the position if you want to. Or it allows you to bank something. And as you can see here, I banked there, then added the trade back on again. Bank, goes down, bank, goes down, bank. As long as it keeps doing this, I will just keep banking money and then reducing this down until this has vanished. And all I've done is I've banked loads of money here and got rid of that thing up there, which is a little bit further away than I wanted it to be. That's what drawdown control is all about. So I'm just going to post that and just say what I've done, but I'll do that in a minute. So I need to screenshot it. Okay, that's it. So I'm going into the weekend with 1%. That will be more because I'm going to close the NAS out, obviously, and I'm going to close the, well, I assume I'm going to close New Zealand CAD out. If the New Zealand dollar CAD just keeps going, then I'm not going to close it out. I'm just going to let it run. It's trailing, so it'll either get me out or it will just do that for the rest of the day, and I'll be up here somewhere. Either or, don't care. Obviously, I'd like the latter. But yeah, so I'll let the NAS run. That's working okay. The opening range breakout is nice this afternoon rather. So there's your OR, there's your break. So yeah, another day in paradise. Right, I will leave it there. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in the Telegram group, and I will be back Monday morning, 7:50, same time for the for the Frankfurt session. Trade the DAX, have a look at FX pairs, check what the sentiment's done over the weekend, and check what updates have been to COT over the weekend. And then, yeah, see if we can get some more money in. I'd like to get this one over the line next week if I can. 2.5%. I've got an 8% target. So yeah, would be nice if I can bank 5% in a week, but we'll see what the market gives us next week. Some nice opening range breakouts wouldn't go amiss. Right, have a good one, guys. Have a good weekend. I'll be back Monday, and I'll see you then. Anything you need, I'll be in Telegram.